What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by former UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion and potentially number one bantamweight contender, Henry Cejudo. And Henry, I mean, let's just get straight to it. I don't want you to, sometimes in this industry, you can say some things, you cannot say some things, but I think you're past that point. You basically kind of speak your mind. You don't really care if the brass gets mad at you about saying certain things. I mean, you've called Dana White Dana Baldo before. So just pull back the curtain and tell us 3.5 days after UFC 280, where are we? Are you going to be fighting Aljamain Sterling? What can you tell us?
No, I'm going to be fighting Aljamain Sterling. I got the call from Ali Abdelaziz. Hey, you're next. You're next. You're the next guy in line. It's not like the situation where TJ where I got popped and I literally lost my belt. Like it was that Monday when I got done being Dominic Cruz. Like I pink slipped. Like I'm just like, hey man, I'm done. I didn't hold a division. Didn't do anything like that. I didn't even ask for money. Nothing. I says I'm done. Like I'm retired, man. I've been doing this since age 11, since the age of 33 at that time at the highest levels. So by the time that last fight, I defended both of my belts. I'm just like, hey man, I'm gonna go off to the sunset and enjoy this retirement. We got to keep in mind though too, man. Khabib retired at age 31. Like the sport is no joke. The sport is you need to go out and really kind of decide what is it that you need. And I think for the most part, Brett, what I needed was time. And I feel like now that I have time and I'm able to really seize and miss the sport and have that drive once again, and especially having a little one, having a little one now, Brett. As you know, I know you have a 2.5 year old. It's definitely different. So different motivations, not just because of family, but there's just a different drive that's special.
I feel like you guys had an inclination that you were going to be next, even going into UFC 280. Is that accurate? When you were watching UFC 280, did you kind of know that you were going to be fighting the winner of the main event or the co-main event?
Yeah, I think the only thing that would really probably maybe throw a wrench in that was Sean O'Malley of him winning. But and rightfully so. If it would have really be Peter Yan, but as we all saw, man, go look on the internet. Robbery, worst robbery in UFC history. If I think if Sean would have really had beat him, that's the only guy that would have really thrown a wrench in that whole situation. But after seeing Khabib's reaction, myself, a bunch of people at the some of the highest level fighters, it's just like there's no way, man. There's no way. I think that he needs to either run it back with Peter Young or get his rematch with Chito Vera.
How official is this? You said that Ali called and said you're next. Like he spoke to the UFC and like, do you have a contract? Like, do you know a date? Do you have all the details?
Yeah, no, I know they're talking about Perth and Australia in February. I think that card makes sense. I've been training this whole time. I mean, obviously, Brett, I've been training some of the elite athletes like John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Chris Cyborg, Zhang Wei Li, Davis Figueiredo, the Korean Zombie, Yuri Prohachka. It's like, man, I've been really outside looking in, kind of just dissecting the sports with all these different styles of fighters and fights. And to me, it's like, man, I just feel like it's just I have a whole nother set of eyeballs on how I see the sport and where do I see my gifts falling. So yeah, I've been away from the sport, but not competing. But man, I've been training. I've been studying it. I've been studying myself, and Birth Australia looks like what it's gonna be. We just got to get Aljo to sign the contract.
Well, you said Perth makes sense. Why? Is it just from a timing standpoint, or like the actual fighting in Perth, Australia makes sense?
Both. I think if Alja was smart, I think he'd now that he's getting pay-per-view points, it's perfect. You're gonna have Islam Makhachev main event versus Alexander Volkanovski. We could be the co-main event in Australia. I mean, that makes sense for both of us. I mean, he's gonna be getting pay-per-view points. He fought a dude who was handicapped. Literally, he fought a dude who was literally fought with one arm. I fought that dude in EPOs and I got rid of him in 32 seconds. This dude fought TJ Dillashaw with one arm. You know what I'm saying? What break do you need? What is it? Your YouTube? The UFC needs to stop funding this guy and taking him to all these crazy events because this guy's just gonna party it up. He's gonna end up holding back the division. Can I tell you something, Brett? When I first beat Demetrius Johnson in 10 months, I fought Demetrius Johnson. I fought TJ Dillashaw. I got rid of him in January. And then I fought Marlon Moraes, who got rid of Aljamain, who knocked him out cold all in 10 months. I mean, I was an active fighter. I happened to get surgery after I fought Marlon, so I was pretty much out for the whole year. Came back, I'm the type of fighter that will fight as periodically as I can. I'm not here to take breaks. I said, if I'm going to take a break, then I'm just going to retire as I did. But I was a constant fighter. Now, I don't think Aljamain Sterling is that type of fighter that's willing to fight. And I personally do know and think that Aljamain respects me too much. I think he respects me too much. And I think, if you watch him in the Ariel Helwani interview, he's like, oh, well, Cejudo, he does deserve to go up to 144 pounds because of his merit, because of his accomplishments, but I can't go up to 135 pounds and challenge for and reclaim my bout once again. I just think he's straight up scared, Brett.
So at the end of the day, you expect him to accept the fight, though? You expect to be seeing this guy in Perth?
I do, but I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I personally think he's the type of guy that wants to take a break, party it up, get fat, drink up all that Hennessy, and do all that, and he just wants to take a break. And I think that break that he wants to take it's not good for our division. You fought a dude who literally probably shouldn't have fought. I think there should be some repercussions for TJ Dillashaw. There's a lot of people that bet money on him, and I didn't bet, but I was telling people bet on TJ, because if he's healthy, if he has two arms, then he could beat Aljamain. But that wasn't the case here, and it was stupid. It wasn't a fight. He left unscathed, but he wants to go on a victory tour, grow his damn YouTube channel, which I've already surpassed within 3.5 months of starting it. I mean, he absolutely sucks. He makes me sick. And Dana White and everybody you see, they want me to get rid of him. And this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to get rid of Aljamain Sterling.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that part of it, but real quick, just to wrap up the talk about Perth, is another part of the reason why Perth is attractive to you. I look at that and I think Henry's going to try to win back his title and pick a fight with Volkanovski, which is what he's been wanting to do for the last 2 years anyway, is move up and fight at 145. So do you look at that as almost kind of a promotional opportunity to be on the same card as Volkanovski in his home country?
There could be, but I think there's a title defense that could be done there, but I will call him out. But would that be my next fight? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think the UFC would probably want me to defend my belt and then maybe go after Volkanovski. But that's an option, man. I think about that stuff too. Like, Volkanovski's 5'6", I'm 5'4". I'm literally 2 inches. He's literally 2 inches taller than me. I think it makes up to a great matchup. We're gonna see the matchup with him and Islam Makhachev, and I personally think it's an easy fight for Islam. If Volkanovski was smart, he'd take a little more time, bring in a coach, bring in an addition that could help him with that ground and pound, because it's a different top control that you won't get from jiu-jitsu guys. Anyhow, of course, man, like my whole goal, Brett, is to make history. My goal is to not, the reason why I started the persona or even the character, because you almost start to become it a little bit. You're able to express yourself, but it's just for me to make history. I tried playing the humble role, humble Henry, and, strength, honor, integrity, being that Olympian isn't working in MMA. Closed mouths don't get fed. So yeah, of course, I want to beat Aljamain Sterling. Eventually, at the end of the day, the goal is to take Alexander Volkanovski out to become the first 3-division champion in UFC history and be called C4.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that Dana White and the UFC want you to take out Aljamain Sterling. That's what he thinks. I mean, he thinks that the UFC is looking around, and I think like what was his exact quote, that like they want Henry because they're looking for their last hope of someone who can beat me.
And I am that hope, and it is true, Brett. The UFC, they do want me to take him out. They don't gotta tell me. They don't have to tell me. They just know that I'm the man to do the job. I'm the man that's gonna get rid of this cringe god, and and just get rid of him, because his fights suck. He sucks. They all suck, and I'm here to make the 135 pound division, bring it back on top. They say it's murderers row. Where the kill of the murders right here, and I'm here to murder Aljamain Sterling.
Are you a little surprised that after he beat TJ that he didn't commit to O'Malley? And the reason I ask that is that O'Malley is, obviously he's kind of the bright shiny thing right now. It's a lot of attention has been on this guy over the last few years, and we haven't seen him grapple yet. So I would imagine if I was in Sterling's shoes and I'm trying to make as much pay-per-view points as possible, and I'm looking at this guy like, he got out wrestled a little bit by Petr Yan. I out wrestled Petr Yan. Like, are you a little surprised that he didn't go all in on O'Malley? Because I got to be honest, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, no, well, I think Sean O'Malley, he even knows, he knew he lost the fight. Aljamain, I know he watched the fight, and I know he thought he lost. I mean, there's a lot of that would be the logical thing to do, but I just don't think that like that really makes sense to either one of them. I think if O'Malley would have really won fair and square, and everybody can see it, hey, he won. Like, I mean, the dude went from number 11 or 13 all the way to the number one contender. Welcome to the UFC, whatever. Sean did the right thing though, picking the right fight with Petr because it was a striking war. But even with Petr did take him down, Sean O'Malley, like we talk about his grappling, he didn't demonstrate any of that. Like you can do jujitsu and all that stuff, you can be really good at it, but doesn't mean when it comes to the sport of MMA that's able to transition. Can you transition that during when you're hot, sweaty, when people are throwing punches? Can you do all that? And I think that's a very big misconception. That's something that Sean O'Malley doesn't have. So that being said, man, I think everybody knows that Sean he doesn't deserve the number one contender spot. You know, like look everybody who has become the number one contender. Look at who they've beaten. You know, I've had my last four fights: Demetrius Johnson, T.J. Dillashaw, Marlon Moraes, Dominic Cruz. I mean, I had 3 Hall of Famers in 4 fights. You know, I think Petr Yan, that was straight up robbery, Brett. And I think you know it, I know it, and the whole world knows it.
You mentioned like betting odds earlier, and you understand how betting odds work. You've been out for 2 years. Aljamain has won a lot of big fights over the last 2 years. What do you think the betting odds will be if this fight gets booked and the odds come out?
I think I'll be favored, to be quite honest with you. If it was up to me, I think I would be favored. I think, but it doesn't matter to me. Like whether I'm the underdog or the favorite, I really don't care. I know what I got to do down. I know what I have to do. I know how to break them down, and I think my tactical sense and my experience is the difference in this fight. And I think Aljamain's in trouble, and I think that's why he wants to take that long break, party it up on the UFC's dime. So UFC, you guys don't take this dude anywhere. Make him fight. I know you guys want him in Perth, Australia. Let's make the fight happen. Don't handicap this kid. He beat a dude with one arm. It doesn't make sense. He barely beat Petr Yan, dude. Well, first of all, he beat Petr Yan by his Academy Award winning performance. 2, he was gifted that second fight with Yan. I don't know what it was, whether people felt guilty or whatever. And then 3, he fought T.J. Dillashaw with one damn arm, dude. Like the dude was it was a handicap match, like literally, man. And I thought it was unfair that T.J. did that or even took the fight. But whatever, dude. If you guys consider him the best in the world, then I'm gonna prove you guys wrong. Aljamain Sterling signed the contract, Perth, Australia, in February. What is it, February 11th or 12th? But either way, sign that damn contract.
If it is true, and you say it is, that the UFC is bringing you in to beat Aljamain Sterling, why don't they want Aljamain Sterling as a champion, Henry?
But because I think I may be the king of cringe, but this is the cringe god. You know, everything that dude does, it makes me cringe. Which is actually pretty good, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's up to them, you know. To me, this is all a competitive challenge for me. Like I'm out to snatch golds and snatch dreams. I don't care what the UFC thinks. I'm just selfish and I want my damn gold and I want that belt around my waist. And then, in the future, I will become the C4. So I don't care what the UFC is thinking. But if I'm the hitman, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna take that dude out.
When you go into, like, let's say it's in Perth, and I understand it's a fight, and so you're going to get up and, like, obviously like you don't want to lose any type of fight because there's health ramifications that go into that. But when you are training for this fight, like Aljamain Sterling and a 135-pound championship that you gave away 2 years ago, is that motivating? Like, are you going to be up for this fight and during this camp?
It is. No, what it is they're tune-ups. He's a tune-up. He's a tune-up for me. He's a tune-up fight, and then I do plan on defending my 135-pound belt, and then I do want a piece of that 145-pound gold. Whether Volkanovski has it or I hope Islam doesn't hurt him too bad. But yeah, that is the goal. The goal is to defend my titles, to defend my 135-pound, and then go up once again. Like Brett, if people are gonna continue to keep doubting me after everything that I accomplished in sports, it's mind-boggling to me because I'm not the guy that's blind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm the short king. I'm out there to seek, kill, and destroy.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a couple more things for you. And obviously, this one we'll have plenty of time to talk about. But what is your understanding with UFC? You win, you defend your 135, then you get that opportunity that you really want at 145. And then they expect you, I imagine, to then defend that 145. Is that the understanding?
Of course, of course. I would love to do something like that. I would love to. There's two guys that have always intrigued me at 145 pounds. And I do respect them. Yeah, I do talk my, but I do respect them. Alexander Volkanovski, one, and Max Holloway, two. If I'm able to get that win with Volkanovski, I wouldn't even give him a rematch. I would like to, hey, give me Holloway. Give me another guy that's big, that's a former champ, that's done it before, that's been there before. That would be my ideal situation.
When do you think we'll have signed contracts for Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain?
Whenever he's ready, obviously he's gonna try to go on this tour. Oh, this acting career. Oh, I want to grow my YouTube channel. Oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I mean, if I was Aljamain, if I was to give him some advice, is Aljamain, don't get fat. Stop drinking. Stop having fun. Stop going to all these damn UFC events. Let beat somebody, and maybe you will be considered the GOAT at 135 pounds if you're able to beat the Triple C. Stop traveling. Stop drinking. Get together and let's make some real money. You got pay-per-view points. You will be at the undercard co-main event under Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. It's a great and it's a perfect situation for him. Don't drop the ball, man.
One final thing. What's the heaviest you got? I mean, you went into the citizen life and you were retired. What's the heaviest you got, and how has that weight been dropping off as you get back in the gym?
Yeah, I was on that, Dad. I was. Wow, you're really throwing a wrench out here, Brad. I want to say, man, I probably got up to 170, 165, 170. That's the biggest I got, but that's.
How'd that feel? Did you enjoy it?
I felt comfortable. I felt like I had a jacket on me, I felt like, But that being said, though, like all jokes aside, Brett, I'm just a competitor at heart, and I'm driven. I'm smart. My IQ in the sport, the experience that I've done, my ability to be honest with myself, to respect my opponent, and his ability and his traits, to be able to really form a game plan, to be able to beat anybody and everybody. So I'm looking forward to this fight with Aljamain, and I'm looking forward to regaining my title, getting my belt, and then continue to keep making money, continue to keep making history.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I mean, when you walked away, you were arguably the best pound for pound fighter in the world. I mean, you were in that conversation, so it was.
No, yeah, but you know what? Let's get back to that. Like to me, like even being pound for pound, Brett, it was I had two belts. You know what I'm saying? Like in my era when I was there, the three top pound for pound guys: John Jones, who never lost. John Jones, who never lost. I don't want to do it that way because then I'm gonna end up sticking the bird. Anyways, John Jones, who never lost. Khabib, who was undefeated, and then it was me with two belts. But I think even at that time when I did retire, stopping people, stopping legends, former champs, I was pound for pound. And to me, that was number 3 on that list. But in reality, it was like, could at that time Khabib go up and beat Kamaru Usman for the title? Could John Jones at that time go up and beat Francis Ngannou? I proved it. So if there's one thing that I did understand about MMA rankings, this is all, with all due respect to you, Brett, these are all people who have opinions who have never fought, who have never fought, who don't know what it is to go up 10 pounds and be an underdog and to eventually win. So that being said, like there's a lot of goals that I'm after, and the pound for pound crown is there, but it's not prestigious to me no more as it once was, because look, Sean O'Malley can go from number 11 to where he wins a very controversial loss or robbery to being the number 1 contender. Islam Makhachev and not being on the pound for pound rankings to winning one fight and being the dude to being number 3. To, you know what I'm saying? Like I can go on and on and on, and it's like, that's just the way it is, and that's just the way I see it. I'm just out there to have gold on both my shoulders, around my waist, and have my crown on, and that's it. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to having you back, man. I miss watching you fight, and King of Cringe versus God of Cringe. I like that. I don't know what Aljamain will think about that, but I like that matchup, and hopefully we'll
the King of Cringe is back!
Keep us informed, bud, and thank you for the time. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.